Hi, and welcome to the Window Film Magazine podcast. I'm your host, Vinnie Driscoll, and I'm really excited for today's guest, Matthew Darienzo, CEO of American Window Film. We're going to talk about his recent rebrand and much more. And at the end of this podcast, I have a special announcement, so stick around, folks. Matthew, how you doing?
Hey, how are you, Vin?
I'm doing great. What's the weather like out today in California?
The weather is the same as it is every other day, sunny and 75.
I mean, hey, well, I'll take that. On the East Coast, we have just been getting this hot, humid weather, and it's like we get these showers like we're in Florida
Yeah.
every day. Like at the end of
Yep.
the day, we're getting all torrential rain. It's been a
Yep.
crazy summer.
It's
It's been
crazy.
hot, it's been humid, but it's also been very wet. So, yeah, I mean, it's been just crazy. I'm excited to get into this podcast, but before I do so, Matthew, I got to read a sponsor from the International Window Film Conference in Tintoff. That is our sponsor for today's podcast. The WFCT will be held September 9th to the 11th at the Reno Sparks Convention Center in lovely Reno, Nevada. If you haven't registered yet, there's still time to do so. Go to WFCTevent.com to register, find out more, and sign up for show updates. Or you can email Nicole Rubio at nrubio, that's NRUBIO, at glass.com. And if you're interested in sponsoring a future podcast for Window Film Magazine, please email Aaron Harris at eharris@glass.com. That's EHARRIS at glass.com. All right, Matthew, before we get into questions, can you just give us a little intro? How long you've been in the industry, who you are, what business you work for?
Sure. Thanks for having me on, Vin. Appreciate everything you do for Window Film Magazine, small industry. So,
Sure.
any awareness in our industry is good. So appreciate that. But yeah, no, been in Window Film business about 25 years. Did automotive tinning for the first 10. Been mostly residential commercial in the last 15 years.
Okay.
Started, acquiring small businesses across the country that do window film, mostly residential commercial, back in 2010, and purchased about 23 companies over the last 15 years in different markets all over the country. So currently we operate in 17 different markets across the country. We have about 220 employees. Our headquarters is in Laguna Hills, California. And yeah, we're mostly a large, small company at the same time. We operate locally out of small, warehouses throughout the country. We have 17 actual locations with installers. We have about 100, 120 W2 installers on staff. So yeah, no, it's been crazy ride. Never thought that I would be here, with the size of the company the way it is. But we try and still keep that small business mentality. So yeah, that's just a little bit about quick 2 minutes on my background.
Sure. So, you've been in the window film industry basically all your life then, all your professional life.
Pretty much.
Okay. So what is your background in? What did you go to school for? Like what tell us a little bit more about that.
So I wanted to be a comedy writer and a
Oh,
film
wow.
director. Yes. So I went
No
to school for
kidding.
film and television. I went to Hofstra in New York, and I thought I was gonna. I think I'm. My wife says I'm not as funny as I think I am. So yeah, I worked for Rosie O'Donnell when I graduated college, and
No kidding.
yeah, she in the late '90s, like that. Her show was like the big show at the time.
Sure.
And
I
she
remember.
started like daytime television, and
Mhm.
so I knew someone that worked on the show, and so I interned there when I was at college, and then I got a job in the mailroom. Was my first job out of college. I worked in the mailroom on the Rosie O'Donnell show. The goal was to work with the writers, and then eventually I got promoted to be a writer's assistant, and then I was working for these writers who were comedians at the time, and that was super fun. Did that for a couple years. Then I worked for Martin Short in LA for a little bit. He had a talk show for like 6 months, got canceled. Then I worked for a couple of game shows in LA, kind of moved around, right, doing some cheesy cheeseball
Yeah,
like
yeah.
comedy writing. And then it just kind of fizzled out. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this the rest of my life, and my dad was an entrepreneur, been in business his whole life. I've worked in he's had small businesses, tire shops, muffler shops, video store, like all kinds of small businesses. So I grew up around business. So when I got out of the film industry, he's like, what kind of business do you want to go in? I'm like, well, I like cars. And so that's how we found a window tinning business.
Sure.
It was a local car tinning business, mostly cars. And
Right.
I was about 25 years old. And that was the start of my kind of window tinting career. That's how I got started. Yeah.
That's fascinating. I love to ask people about their backgrounds because you never know, where they started and how they ended up in the industry.
So weird.
And it's like, comedy writer. That's awesome. And when I went to school, I wanted to be a writer, and today I'm doing writing. I'm also doing, multimedia content like this, which is awesome. So I'm kind of on the same trajectory that I was in college, but that's not always the case. When I talk to some people, I'm like fascinated by some of their backgrounds, and yours is pretty fascinating. Um, Again, we're talking to Matthew Darienzo. He's the CEO of American Window Film. Now, Matthew, who was your biggest influence growing up? Now, it could be industry, it could be outside the industry, but who really kind of, is responsible for your motivation and your drive, and being the entrepreneur that you are today, and what you're doing for American Window Film?
Oops. You
You
there?
there?
Oh,
Yep.
sorry.
No worries. This happens. You
Sorry.
still with me?
It could be my, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Okay, cool. Sorry. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Sorry.
So yeah, who was your biggest influence?
Oh, for sure, my dad. Just because
Okay.
I mean, he was growing up, like he had so many different types of businesses, and my grandfather was an entrepreneur, my dad was an entrepreneur, so like I kind of grew up around it, so feel like it's kind of in my blood. My dad was kind of the opposite of me, though. He like wanted to. He retired at like in his early 40s, and so he basically created a structure to where he just kind of like wanted to, have investments and just he didn't want to work, right? And I
Sure.
have a little bit of a different mentality is like all I do is work. I just love to work.
Yeah.
I love business and it's my hobby. Like on the weekends, nights, weekends, like that's all I do is think
Right.
about business because I love it. Right. So,
Right.
and so where I got that, I don't know. Early on in my career, I don't think I was as motivated. But I think with success comes motivation, right? So when you're successful at something, you
Mhm.
enjoy it, right? And so
Right. Right.
as I had little wins along the way, you get more excited and you're like, oh my God, we did this, we did that. And then you get more excited. And so for me, that became the motivation as I got more successful, I think, and had these little wins, it gave me more motivation and got me more excited about what the potential is. And I think the biggest issue and challenge that I had over the years was like not thinking big enough. Right.
Right.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs have that where you think, oh my God, I'm going to try and get here. And then you get there and you're like, wait a minute, now what? I already got here,
Right.
right? And
Right.
so you really have to think, kind of beyond, think crazy
Sure.
sometimes, right? And then, if you
Right.
get even halfway there, then it's a positive. And so I think that's one of the things that I've learned over the years for sure.
I love that. It's great advice. Set expectations that are unrealistic. You may not reach them, but you'll probably get further than if you had set expectations that were reasonable. So, those are definitely, great. That's great advice. Now, I want to talk about a recent rebrand that you did. I had written a story earlier this year about your rebrand um, to American Window Film, and it was just a Q&A story, but it got a lot of attention. There was a lot of comments on the story itself. People seem to be very interested in a topic like that. So tell me, why did you decide to rebrand Solar Art Window Film to American Window Film?
So Solar Art was the name of the company that existed in 1984 or 5 when the company was founded. Well, I bought it in 2000. It's a kind of a cool name, right? It's
Mhm.
Solar Art, like it's kind of like, but it's weird. Like people, often people think solar, they think solar panels. Art is kind of like, what is that? So it was kind of an off the wall name, and I always kind of thought it was kind of cool because it was different. It
Right.
wasn't, like the typical window tinting name, right? So it's kind
Sure.
of different, right? So I always kind of liked it, but over the years, it just like I would keep telling people what we did, and just it was like people just constantly thought we were doing solar panels, and it just didn't have a lot of relevance. But that was fine. But as we kind of scaled the business over the years, and then once we started to kind of scale across the country, and we knew we were going to be sort of a national brand, we thought about the name and like we're like, okay, well, does it really reflect who we are and where we're going? And we're like, well, it kind of doesn't. Also, solar, like that's just if you talk about solar window film, that's one piece of our business, and
Right.
it's largely becoming the smaller part of our business, versus like decorative and security and all that kind of
Sure.
stuff. And so to have solar in our name, really, it just didn't really reflect kind of who we were. And then in 2023, when we bought a company called American Window Film in Boston, who had the name, had the website, kind of we had been talking about it for a long time about, well, hey, we should do it. When should we do it? What should we do? We said, okay, well, this is a perfect name. Like, we want to be a national brand.
Right.
What better name than American? Who doesn't love America? Like, it's a
Right.
perfect opportunity. We were scared to do it because you're changing a name, and we had a lot of customers at the time. But that said, we also bought 23 different brands and integrated them into our company, and eventually changed their name into ours, and didn't
Sure.
see any degradation in the revenue or customer base. So we knew that you could do it just because we had done it on a small scale over the years. So now we were just
Right.
doing it for ours on a little bit of a bigger scale, because we had a couple hundred employees, we got vans, we knew it was
Sure.
going to be a bigger lift. So it took a long time to prepare to do it, but we knew it was the right decision. We got a lot of positive feedback after, like, before we did it, like, we obviously put it out to friends, family, people in the industry. Like, I started asking around, hey, what do you guys think about this? And we got really good positive feedback. And then after we did it, we got really good positive feedback on the name
Sure.
and everything. So I think overall it went actually smoother than I thought. It's not done, to be honest with you. Like, I pulled up to my office yesterday, and there was a couple of Solar Art vans there. I'm like,
Yeah.
guys, come on, let's go. Like, change the
Right.
vans, So
Right.
it's the clothing and the branding and the office. We're still changing all the signage and all that kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
it's a probably going to take 12 months to do the whole thing, but overall, I think it's been pretty successful. The online thing was a big lift. I mean, every Google listing, Apple listing, Maps, Yelp, every everything, all the the
Yeah, for sure.
directories on all the websites, like, everything, all the searches,
Right.
it's a lot. So props to my COO, my director of marketing, like, everyone. Really, it was a team effort to do it. And like I said, it's still in process. But overall, I think it's pretty good. At the end of the day, the customer, they just it may be a little uncomfortable for your customer. They're like, well, what
Right.
is this? What is this invoice? What's this name? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
they get over it very quickly. They
Sure.
they want you to come. They want you to tint their windows, and they want you to and leave. That's it.
Right.
They just want the same service. They want you to show up. They don't really so much care about the name that much,
Mhm.
So we try to make it as, you know,
Right. Right.
easy
As
as
seamless
possible
as
for the
possible. Yeah.
customer, you know what I mean? So,
Right.
like it says, like right now, if you go to our website, I'll say American Window Film, formerly Solar Art. So you kind of see
Yeah.
them together. So people are like, oh, wait, is that Solar Art, American Window Film? So we're going to run that for at least probably a year before we kind of
Yeah.
take the Solar Art away. And it's the same thing we do with the companies that we acquire. We'll put, you know,
Sure.
yeah.
So I think that at stake here is you've acquired companies. Well, you acquired the company years ago, and it eventually evolved to be bigger than what it originally was. And I think that a lot of companies, not only in this industry, other industries, they go through the same thing. The name just no longer fits what the company actually does, or how much it does. And you ran across that issue with solar in the name. People are thinking solar panels. You're probably getting emails, you're probably getting phone calls, people asking for solar panels. It's not what you do, it's different. So you have to kind of conceptualize a rebrand. And I know, because I've covered lots of rebrands in my life, and I know what it goes into, but I want to talk to you a little bit about it. So you're formulating a new name, American Window Film, and now you start to conceive changing this all over. There's a lot of moving parts to a rebrand of this magnitude, because you've bought a lot of businesses. Now you have to conceive of putting them all under this one umbrella. So tell me, how long ago did you say, okay, let's start this process? And after that, tell me what it entailed. We talked a little bit about some of the stuff, the merchandising, the signage, all of that. what else goes into it? Because I think a lot of people don't realize, all your marketing collateral has to change. There's so much that has to change. Your logo. Can you talk a little bit more about, when you conceptualize doing this?
Yeah,
And
we decided, like, we made the decision probably a year ago around this time, like
okay,
6 months before the end of last year, and the goal was to launch it January of this year. So it took so
okay,
we started 6 months before when we started
right.
planning, right? So we started, like, we had the logo, we designed it, we started ordering all the stuff, the equipment and the clothing and everything. And then
Sure.
we launched it January 1st. So January 1st, we started the rebrand. So we started the changeover of the website, all of the listings, all of that. So, like, that took a month, 2 months. So we're like, so that kind of happened over the last 2 or 3 months. We're still in the process of doing that. So, like, right now we're probably 6 months in, but we're still working on that right now. Like, our
Right.
literature, our folders is like being delivered in the next couple weeks. So, like,
Hmm.
it's a year and we're still not done. And so I think it's
Right.
going to be another 6 months before, like, everything's kind of like settled. So I think
Right.
in all, you're talking about 18 months of complete, right? From fruition, idea,
Sure.
do it, implementation. So it's like, so I think by the end of this year, I think we'll be kind of, we'll have all the literature, all the
Right.
vans will be done, all the offices will be done, all the internet website will be done. Like, I think by the, so it's a long process. Yeah.
Right. And I think, and that's a great estimate because a year to 18 months, I feel like in all the rebrands that I've covered, that seems to kind of be the sweet spot. The problem is, I think a lot of people go into this thinking it's going to be a couple months.
No.
But there's so much involved. Like we talked about, just in visual alone, in terms of changing your logo. If you're changing the colors, you have to think about again your marketing collateral. You got to think about your social media. Everything has to really kind of reflect the change that you're making, even if it's subtle. And I've talked about this in another industry. Even if you're just changing the logo just a bit, say you're changing the font of the logo, that's considered a rebrand. And a lot of times people don't realize that, hey, okay, I changed it on here, my website,
Right.
but it doesn't match other
Yeah.
collateral. People are going to There's going to be a disconnect. They're going
Yeah.
to say, okay, this doesn't look like the same
Yeah.
company
Yeah.
because, hey, you changed fonts.
And
But again, just
yeah.
something that simple is a rebrand.
For us too, it was difficult because we're also buying companies. So we're
Hmm.
buying companies and we're rebranding that company. And so when we rebrand that company, it was like, hey, we buy their company, solar insulation, a solar, or, a solar company. So it used to be that company, a solar company. But now
Okay.
we're buying that company, but now we're a different name. So
Right.
we had to think about, okay, we're buying this company. Are we buying this company as American Window Film, or are we buying this
Right.
company as Solar Art? So is it this company? So it got a little, even another layer of, like,
Yeah.
okay, well, wait a minute, like, so it got very confusing in that, because
Sure.
we're like, well, when do we do the rebrand? Because we had acquisitions happening during the time of it. So we're like, well, do we buy this company as the new company, or do we buy this company as the old company, or do we buy the company
Right.
and
Right.
not rebrand? So that was a little challenging. And so, a couple, like, one of the acquisitions, we didn't rebrand it at all. Like, normally we'll rebrand it right away and say, hey, it's a solar, like, I think it was the DC one, General Solar, a solar art company. I think we just basically didn't do it because we were right in the middle of it. And we said, all right, let's just keep it General Solar, not change the name. And then once
Sure.
we launched American Window Film, then we integrated American Window Film. So it got a little complicated, but I think, so we had a little bit more nuance because of how
Right.
we operate,
Right.
So,
Yeah, and
but
there's nothing more disjointed than going to a website and clicking on one of your ancillary links, say to your social media, and it's a completely different brand, and
and
you're
seeing
like, oh my
what's
god,
what is
you're
this?
like,
Yeah, yeah.
who is this company? So there's a
This
there's a lot.
rebrand got me thinking, like, and I'll be driving around and looking at businesses all over, like trucks. I'd be with my son or my wife. Look at everything, and I look at the business, and I look at the brand, I look at the name, and I'd ask them, I go, what do they do? And it'd be like, Freddie's Detailing. Well, what does he do? Detailing. Who is it?
Right.
What's his name? Freddie. Freddie, and he does detailing. Freddie's Detailing. So
Yep.
it's super clear, super, like,
Yep.
sometimes when it's like super nuanced, you're like, okay, it's blah blah blah. We're the, and like,
Right.
okay, what do they? You see a name on a van, you're like, okay, I have no idea what they do. It's a random name. It has some kind of random service on there, but I have no idea what they do. And
Right.
so
Right.
it's like sometimes you just like, what do you do? Just tell me what you do. Don't be be just very
Right.
simple. And so I follow a lot of business people, a lot of, I read a lot of books and stuff. And yeah, and as you scale, you want your name and your brand to, and there are exceptions, right? Google, Amazon,
Right. Right. Right.
those are
Sure.
outliers, right? Like,
Right.
but
Right. Right.
in our industry, our little industry, service-based business, like, what do you do? Just say what you do. We're American
Yeah.
window film. Like, I just loved it. It was so simple. It was American, which obviously I love America. So I was like, this is perfect.
And you bring up a great point because if you're very, very, you know, forthright about what you do and the name of the business, you're going to get more impact from Google. So if somebody types in window film,
Yeah.
there's a good chance that you're going to pop up in the very first page. And if you're not on the first page, you might as well be on the last page, right? People they go to Google. If you're not in the first
Well,
results,
one of the things that we did too is we decided, hey, we're in 17 different markets. So we added
Mhm.
the city. So now it's
Oh,
American
okay,
Window Film Nashville,
gotcha.
American Window Film, Los
Right,
Angeles. And so you have window film in Los
hmm
Angeles in all of the directories and all of the listings. And so you
right,
have window film and the city, which
yep.
really helps out for SEO. And so that's pretty, so we did that as well. So I'd
Yeah,
recommend it.
the geo targeting is important as well, and I think that so if you're in the Los Angeles area, you type in window film, boom, American window film, Los Angeles will come up, and you're great because you don't want Nashville coming up in Los Angeles. So
Right.
to me, I think that you guys have got it figured out. Some great lessons here about rebranding because I really wanted to talk to you, like I said, because people have an interest in rebranding, not only in this industry but other industries because like we talked offline, a lot of times you get into a business, you start a business, you don't know what you're going to call it. You at the time you're like, I have to give it a name. You give it a name, and it's 5, 10 years later, you're like, man,
Yeah.
I wish that wasn't the name I gave it.
Yeah.
But we're 8, 10 years into the business. How am I going to change it? Is it going to be easy? Is it going to be difficult? And I think that a story like yours kind of resonates for a lot of people because they get the insight on how much work goes into a rebrand.
Cool.
So again, we're talking to Matthew Darienzo, CEO of American Window Film. Matthew, this has been a great conversation. I have a few more questions for you. So, tell me about an accomplishment in this industry that you're most proud of.
I think for us, I think just creating sort of a business and a company within our little small bubble of an industry that didn't exist before we started. Sort of a national company that has a local footprint with, kind of essential resources and just like, it's a lot of times when you're in an industry, whether it's a bigger industry like a home services or whatever, there are big companies out there that you kind of strive to be or look to be or kind of emulate.
Hmm.
Um, I think when we started, what we built doesn't exist, and so kind of just to build something that didn't exist in an industry to kind of stand alone, like kind of in our
Sure.
industry at least. There's really no, there are other great companies for sure in our industry, but we just none that look like us. And
Right.
so I think to build something that didn't exist, I think for me is kind of a cool accomplishment, sort of in an industry that took a while to build. I mean, obviously, we built our own software to do it all, the infrastructure, the systems, the processes. I mean, it took 15 years to get to the point to have the systems and operations and to be able to go into a market and open and buy a company or whatever, to operate, in all these different markets and have efficiency and have, good profit margins and be able to price right and give good customer service. There's so much that goes into operating a remote business that operates in
Sure.
regionally in all these different markets. And so I think just that is a pretty big accomplishment. And then seeing the company grow and seeing the employees within the company as the company grows, seeing them grow is kind of a cool kind of thing. Because as we grow, our internally, we have the best people. I always say, I mean, we just actually we're going to be dropping a video in the next a week or so. It's all around culture. It's a new culture video. It's sort of
Mhm.
like an about us, but it really goes to the culture piece of our business, which for me is the most kind of critical and most important part about what we do is our people, because we're service-based business, and anybody in our industry will tell you, you know, the windows don't tint themselves, right?
Right.
From sales to service to installation, we are a people focused business. You could have all the people and processes in the world, but it's the people that make it happen. And so for us, it's the most important and critical piece. And the
Right.
businesses that I see that are successful within this industry and out of this industry that focus on people are the most successful ones. So it's not only the right thing to do; it also makes successful businesses. So I'm excited about that, and that's pretty cool. And I think that's sort of a focus of ours.
That's awesome. I love answers, where, like that, where people talk about their employees and investing in their employees and creating a culture like that. It sounds like you've got a really good business there. You've got, great culture. Congratulations on, all your successes. You seem to be doing great. You've got the acquisitions, you got the new rebrand going. So before we get to this special announcement, I have one more question for you. So just a fun question. If when you're not working, what are you doing for fun?
Working.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. I was like, this is the guy who's probably working while he's not working.
No, I mean, I like to do like fitness stuff. I like to work out. I do, play pickleball. I do a little jujitsu. I work out. I like
Mhm.
activity. So, either working out, spending time with my family is obviously, I have two, one's in high school. She's just graduating, and I have a son in college. So, and the more time I get with them when they're home, that's
Sure.
kind of if I'm not working, I'm either doing something with them, or I'm working, or I'm, kind of working out or doing anything. But for me, it's more mental. Like my mind doesn't stop working and thinking about business. So whether
Sure.
I'm driving, whether I'm working out, whether I'm in the shower, whether I'm in the bathroom, whether I'm like whatever I'm doing, my mind just can't stop. And so it's just that hamster wheel
Sure.
of thoughts of what can I do better? How can I get better? How could I become, a better entrepreneur, a better leader?
Right.
How could I, improve the business in X, Y, and Z way? I can't, my mind doesn't stop. It can't stop. Sometimes it gets a little overwhelming, but it's just
Yeah.
how it is.
Are you able to sleep at all, or are you are
I
you
know I
always
sleep.
up?
I do sleep. I have to get sleep. Sleep's one of the most important things. Like I sleep a lot. I sleep 7, 8 hours. I have to have if I do not sleep, I cannot function. So I
Mm,
get a lot of sleep. I think health and wellness, especially nowadays, because there's a whole lot of going on with how the type of foods we eat and everything like that.
mhm.
The most important thing is your health, right? Because
Sure.
if you don't have your health, you can't have time with your family. You can't have your business. Like, so for me, that's literally number one, like above all. So I wake up every single morning, I work out, I go in the sauna, I do a cold plunge. Like I
Oh wow.
really,
Okay.
yeah. So I watch my diet. Like I spend a lot of time and money on my health because I'm getting older, and like I want to be able to be around for my kids when they get
Sure.
older, and I want to be able to do
Sure.
things. So I think neglecting your health is one of the biggest mistakes that people can make, as they get older. So I think that's one of my biggest focus is health, because it allows me to do what I do, you know what I mean, and get up
Right.
and
For
be
sure.
energized
Yeah.
every single day. Like I love Mondays. I hate Fridays. It's like every
Yeah.
Friday I'm like, oh man, it's a weekend. Everyone goes home. Nobody's working,
Yep.
so everyone thinks I'm crazy, but that's just how,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, but it's funny.
Awesome. Well, Matthew, I told you that there would be a special announcement, and this is the first time it's being announced, but you are one of the inductees in the 2025 Window Film Hall of Fame. Congratulations,
No
Matthew.
way.
Yes, yes. Um, yes, I was told to tell you on today's podcast. We're live streaming it. This is the first anyone knows of it. But yeah, I'm excited to announce it. Congratulations. You got a few
That's
words to say to that?
that's crazy. Wait a minute. That's nuts. Wait, so
Wow.
how did that happen? Like how
In
like
nominations, it's nomination based.
but who
And
nominated? Who not who
who knows? There's probably a
Was it
lot of
me? Did
people
I
who
nominate myself?
you may have nominated yourself. I don't know. I don't have.
I
I'm
did
not
it.
privy to that information. But yes, you were nominated multiple times. I did see a spreadsheet where I just saw your name many times. So you are one of the inductees. Well deserved.
That's
Eric
amazing.
Devash says, "Congrats, Matt." He actually just posted there. Congrats, Matt. Well deserved. So
That's
yeah, that
crazy.
this is a great moment. I know that.
I'm gonna sit alongside my idol, Tommy Silva.
There you go. There you go. That's awesome news, and I'm happy to have been the one to tell you during a live stream. So now everyone is
Thank
going to
you.
know about it.
Thank you so much.
So,
No, I'm pumped. That's I like and like I joked around.
oh, did I lose you? I think we lost him. Maybe he'll come back, and maybe he was too excited to.
Yeah.
Hey, there you are.
Sorry about that. I don't know what
No,
happened. It
no,
like
no. I think
stopped.
we had a temporary glitch. We just switched
You
sides.
could edit that out. Chop that out.
Yeah, I'll chop that out, but no worries. So yeah, did couple words from you about being in the Hall of Fame?
No, that's amazing. I was saying when we got cut off, like I was like when Tommy got nominated and I saw the Hall of Fame, I would like joke around about it. I'm like, yeah, someday I'm gonna get into it. You know what I mean? So that's
Right.
that's that's pretty crazy. No, I mean to be recognized like in this industry, I've been in it 25 years. I mean, I think I thought, maybe someday, like when I'm older, but now I feel like I'm old because I'm like, how old am
Yeah.
I? But 25 years, I didn't realize like I've been in the industry 25 years. So it has been a long time. But yeah, just to be, our little world of window film, it's a small community and to be recognized is awesome. I think I've made so many great friends. I've had so many people help me over the years, which has been amazing. And so there's just so many good people in this industry, and I've just been just so lucky to have those that support around me. And so yeah, I'm pumped. I think it's awesome, and I hope I could do my best to help other people as other people come up in the industry as well. So yeah, that's awesome.
That's a great Academy Award speech there. Dave says congratulations as well.
Yeah,
Again, well deserved, Matthew.
thanks.
Congratulations on being inducted into the Window Film Hall of
Wait,
Fame.
so when does that happen?
At the it does formally at the WFCT.
Oh, got it.
Um,
Okay, cool.
but somebody will be reaching out to you with more information. So I'm excited for you.
Yeah, it's
This is
awesome.
great news. Now, before we go, I just want to give another shout out to our sponsor, the WFCT, which will be held September 9th to 11th at the Reno Sparks Convention Center in Reno, Nevada. If you haven't registered yet, there's still time to do so. Go to WFCTevent.com to register, find out more, and sign up for show updates. Or you can email Nicole Rubio at nrubio@glass.com for more information. If you want to sponsor a future podcast, you can email Aaron Harris at eharris@glass.com. Matthew, again, thank you so much for your time and congratulations on your induction into the Window Film Hall of Fame.
It's gonna go next to my. I always joke with my wife when I have an Emmy award because.
Oh, you do?
Well, I don't. When I was on Rosie,
Yeah.
she won an Emmy every year, so the staff would get an Emmy. So we have a plaque, has my name on
Awesome.
it. So I joke with my wife, I have an Emmy award, and I have a picture with the Emmy because I went to the Emmys because I was on the show.
Right,
So,
right, right.
this is an honor that's we'll go alongside
Awesome.
that.
Well, I hope you will love Fridays from now on because today is the day that you got inducted into the Hall of Fame. But again, Matthew, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah,
This has been a great conversation about rebranding, and again, I'm glad that I was able to
thanks,
be
Vin.
the first one to
Awesome.
let you know about the news.
Yeah. Trust me, I'm going to tell everybody.
You do that. All right, Matthew. Take care. We'll see you next time on the Window Film Magazine podcast.
All right, thanks, Vin. See you.